Welcome, everybody. So good to be here with all of you. If you are here and you would like to say hello to all the amazing educators and leaders here, come on off mute, say hi.
Okay, so what I'm wondering is,
all right, so good to see all of you. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with Michelle and me, who are so excited to restore with all of you today. So for those of you who I haven't met yet, my name is Dr. Ilana Nankin. I am the founder and CEO of Breathe for Change, which, if you're new to us, it's an organization on a mission to enhance the health and well-being of amazing educators like yourselves and students in entire communities. And we run the world's only 200-hour wellness, SEL, and yoga teacher training that's specifically for educators and leaders like yourselves who really care about using wellness as a vehicle for healing and social change. And I see many of our current trainees and graduates in the room. If you are one of them, hello, thank you for being here. We love you. And if you're new to us, we're so excited to give you a taste of what Breathe for Change is all about. So before we introduce ourselves further and dive into our restorative practices, we would love to absolutely just take a moment to settle in together. So I invite you to find a comfortable position. You might be seated on a chair or a couch, or maybe on the floor, maybe you're standing, or if you're exhausted after a long day at school, maybe you're lying horizontal. You do whatever you need. And then just allow your shoulders to just roll for a moment. Yeah, letting that tension go. Maybe you move in the opposite direction. Yeah, starting that relaxation right here, right now. And I see Michelle doing some side bend. So maybe you reach one arm up and over, take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Beautiful. And then come through center. And then let's bring that opposite hand up and over, creating that length along your entire side body. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And then slowly, mindfully come back through center. And I invite you to bring your hands over your heart, just rest them there. And you can soften your gaze or close your eyes and connect to your breath, observing the rise and the fall of each inhale and each exhale. And as you continue to breathe, I invite you to just take a moment to tap in, look inside, and notice how you are feeling. Without trying to shift or change how you're feeling at all, just coming with full acceptance and just noticing, honoring whatever emotions are showing up for you right now. What's here? How are you feeling? And at Breathe for Change, as our 200-hour trainees and grads know all too well, one of our favorite social emotional learning strategies is called the 2-word check-in. So I invite you to find 2 words that describe how you're feeling right now. Just 2 words. And when you've got your 2 words, if your eyes are closed, you can gently open them and come back into the space. And I invite you, if you feel comfortable, to share your 2 words in the chat, which I see some of you are already doing: relaxed, calm. Thank you so much for sharing where you're at. Worried, hopeful, exhausted, hopeful, tired, relieved, exhausted, overwhelmed, open and curious, tired, stressed, tired, frustrated. Oh, I see a lot of exhaustion in the room. You've arrived, everybody. This is a webinar to support you in just being restored. So you're in the perfect place, no matter where you're at, but especially for those of you who are feeling overwhelmed or exhausted or stressed or tired. Michelle and my intention for this experience is for all of you to enhance your well-being, for you to be supported, for you to be nourished, for you to be taken care of. And yes, one of the benefits will also be that you'll learn some tools, some restorative practices that you can integrate into your teaching and into your daily lives. But the number one intention is for all of you to enhance your personal well-being so that you can show up fully in your community. So thank you so much for being here, for joining us. And I'll share just a little bit more about myself and give Michelle a little bit of time to share about herself. And then we'll dive into why we're all here. So for those of you I haven't met yet, my name is Ilana, and I am the founder and CEO of Breathe for Change. And my experience with Breathe for Change really started as a teacher. And like many of you are feeling right now, I was stressed, I was overwhelmed, I was overworked. And that's when I first found yoga, and it just completely transformed my life and my well-being. And I started integrating so many of the practices that we'll do together today into my classroom with my kids, and just saw extraordinary transformations in them, both social, emotionally, but then also academically. And I was like, hold on, there's something happening here. So I ended up pursuing my PhD in curriculum and instruction and becoming a teacher educator. And my dissertation only further revealed how universal the issue of educator stress and burnout truly is, and how powerful these wellness and social emotional learning and yoga practices can truly be for both educators and students' lives. So that's what inspired me to start Breathe for Change in 2015. And I set it out to start the world's only 200-hour wellness, SEL, and yoga teacher training. That's, again, specifically for people like yourselves who just care so deeply about changing the world, but also need some tools to take care of ourselves and ultimately our kids too. So since 2015, we've certified about 10,000 educators through our 200-hour training. And for those of you who are new to us, we hope you get a taste of what it's all about. And Michelle and I can stay for a few minutes at the end to talk to any of you who are interested in learning more about what we do. So excited to share. With that, Michelle, I'll pass it to you.
Thank you. So I came to Breathe for Change as a full-time career asana instructor. That's a yoga teacher, known as a yoga teacher in the West. And asana is specifically the physical postures of asana. And I decided to devote my life to this back in 2002 because I saw the direct benefits in my own life. I became a better human. I was less stressed. I had a more intimate relationship with myself. I could feel my own emotions. And then I was able to be more patient and really see and be with my loved ones, my friends. And so I decided that this was something that I really wanted to dedicate my life to. And since that time, I've done several 200-hour trainings. I've created 200-hour trainings. I have taught in every different venue that you can imagine, from schools to corporations to yoga studios, both in this country as well as internationally. And then Breathe for Change found me in 2020. We started, Ilana and I, live in person right alongside each other. And we had to quickly, obviously, pivot and move to the digital format. And we've been able to reach so many incredible educators and offer a home, offer a community, a sense of belonging and understanding, a place where like you get to see and be seen. And that has really affected me. It's just, my heart just bursts with the potential of these teachings as well as our incredible community. So I'm really so thrilled to be talking to you today about one of my new loves, which is restorative yoga. So with that, I'll hand it over to you, Ilana.
Awesome. Well, my friends, we are so excited to dive in with all of you today. So welcome. This webinar we are diving into the beautiful healing practice of restorative yoga for all of you. And at Breathe for Change, we've developed what we call the teach method. And so the way that we teach and everything that we'll be guiding you through is through the lens of this teach method. So it'll be trauma informed. You'll notice we'll be using inclusive and permissions-based language. It'll be equitable, accessible, community-based, and healing centered. And we recognize, right? A lot of times when you think about restorative yoga, if you're familiar with yoga in the West, you think, oh my gosh, I need a bolster. I need a ton of blankets. I need all of these props. And we also know that for many of us who are working in the context of education, we don't always have access to all of the props. And so we're going to be talking about how to access the benefits of restorative yoga with very limited resources so that you can do this at any moment and any time. And we'll also share with you some ways to make it community-based so you can bring these practices into your community in a way that, last but not least, is incredibly healing for you, for your students, and for everyone that you interact with each day. So we know you just showed it in your 2-word check-in. Educators and students are more stressed, tired, exhausted, burnt out than ever before. This is not news to you. And so the invitation in our time together is for you to just take this moment to breathe, to connect to yourself, to just allow this practice to be felt throughout your entire being. And many of you might be new to restorative yoga. What's restorative yoga? So Michelle, I'll pass it to you to just walk us through what restorative yoga is all about.
Yeah, so this practice is different from other practices where you have maybe yourself or you've seen other people moving their bodies and putting their bodies into these different shapes. Often it's standing. And that practice was actually developed in this common era. And restorative yoga came more recently, and it is a slow, deeply restful practice. So you are fully supported. There is no effort by the muscles. There's no effort or no load on the joints. Everything is supported. And so what this does is it relaxes the body as opposed to stretching it or strengthening it. I think it strengthens us in terms of our resiliency for sure. And it draws on all types of props. So when I say props, you can see in the slide, she's got blocks under a bolster, and the body is supported by a blanket behind the rib cage. That's an example. There's an eye pillow, props. These are things that support your body. And we don't have to go out and buy things to do this. We have tons of resources around our homes that we can use to support the body. And what's really important is that you support the body so that the mind can relax. When we have some part of us that is uncomfortable or held up in the air or some muscle that's working, that is stimulating not only physically, but also mentally. So this is part of the beauty of this practice. And we encourage long holds because the body is fully supported. You can stay for longer periods of time. So I like to remind my friends when I'm teaching them that what feels good right now, think about how it might feel 5 minutes from now, because we're going to be doing this same hold for over time. So that's another way to gauge. This is an incredibly gentle and slow moving practice. Less is more. And hopefully that sounds fun. And it's a revolution. I mean, this is a deeply, deeply, I believe, transformative practice, because we live in a culture that supports us all in just constantly going and achieving. That's capitalism, that's white supremacy. And here, what we're doing is actually unpacking that. So it becomes actually, in my view, as an act of social justice.
So
and then the benefits.
Go for it.
Yeah, did you want to take that?
You can do
We're so excited,
it.
right? So we just have so much to say. So there are so many benefits, friends, to this practice. I've mentioned a few of them. First and foremost, reduces stress and burnout, giving yourself time to rest, learning to rest. Some of us need to learn to rest. And then we're promoting our relaxation and enhancing our well-being by resting. And this is an incredible tool for healing.
So when students and educators learn to connect with our breath, our body, our emotions, and our thoughts as we relax and rejuvenate and restore using these practices, we actually cultivate a deeper sense of self-awareness, which is the foundational social emotional learning competency that leads to positive learning and life outcomes. And we become better equipped to integrate and respond to stress. So whether it's us practicing this or us sharing this tool, we're actually increasing our self-awareness skills, which is huge in the context of our lives and education. And when we take time, not just to rest our minds and bodies, but also to reflect on how we feel, which you will notice that Michelle and I asking you to do, we'll invite you to join us in certain practices, and then we'll take a moment, be like, hey, how do you feel? What this does is it also cultivates self-management skills, because what ends up happening is you take that moment, you notice how you feel, maybe you're feeling calm, grounded, connected, whatever it is. Then later on, when you're feeling stressed, tired, overwhelmed, anxious, all the things, you can draw on this practice to bring you back to center, right? To manage or to regulate yourself and to support your students in doing the same. And when we invite our students and our community members to take these moments of rest, and especially when we practice these moments of rest ourselves, we're implicitly sending ourselves and everyone around us the message that our well-being matters, and that I care about my well-being, I care about you. And so we're also modeling for those around us how important it is to prioritize our mental, physical, and social emotional well-being, so that when times get tough, and let's be honest, they will, we can draw on these powerful practices to support us. So how do we draw on restorative practices to reduce stress? So the practices that we will be teaching you today, you can use in your life and in your teaching, both responsively and proactively. What I mean by responsively is that you use them in response to a challenging situation. Maybe there's heightened stress you're experiencing. Maybe you just had a really challenging conversation. Maybe something happened in your classroom that caused people to be feeling overwhelmed. That is the responsive approach. You can invite in these practices to respond in the moment. If you're using it proactively, which we also recommend that you do, you can actually start to integrate these practices into your daily lives, like as a well-being practice. Maybe you wake up in the morning and you just take 1 minute or 3 minutes or 5 minutes to just have this moment to do your restorative practice so that you can set yourself up for the day. Or maybe you start a class and settle your students in this way. So you can use these practices in both contexts, responsively and proactively. Now, you talk through the 4 steps of how we actually practice restorative yoga.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, we want to get comfortable, right? Emphasize comfort, emphasize ease, relaxation. This, my friends, is our first challenge, because we'll have folks who are not used to this. Maybe that is yourself. Maybe you qualify as someone who needs to learn how to get comfortable. Then you invite in the breath. The breath is always there. There are easy ways to connect to the breath, to connect your students to the breath. And then you have an opportunity to restore your body. We restore the body by holding these poses fully supported over time. And then at the end, we ask, did you notice how that felt? How do you feel? Or you yourself, you can reflect on, wow, My mind is so much clearer. Everything has fallen away. I'm so present, or whatever it is for you. So these are the 4 steps that we'll be using.
And now it's time to actually practice. So we will be walking you through some of our favorite restorative yoga practices that you can do on your chair. You can practice on your couch. If you have props that you want to use, you want to lay on your mat and do it, we're going to make sure that it's accessible to whatever props that you have. And so we'll start with a grounding practice, then we'll do a supported back bend, a supported inversion, supported twist, supported forward fold, and some deep restoration. So we'll begin with a grounding practice. So Michelle, will you guide us through this? And I'm going to share or spotlight us so that you can see both of us.
All right, friends. So as Ilana said, we will be presenting these practices from our seat, and you can opt to lay down if you wish. And if you know these practices, feel free to get extra comfy with whatever practice and whatever things that, blankets, props, pillows, all the things. For a grounding practice, 2 things. I'm going to ask you to get comfortable. You can lay down on your back. You can relax back into your chair. You might stretch your legs out in front of you. Maybe you have an ottoman or something to support your legs. This is time to take a load off and feel how much you can actually support your body, even your hands, your arms. Maybe you bring a blanket behind your head as just a small pillow. And now connect to your breath. For this first practice of grounding, I invite you to just follow your breath in and your breath out and explore what moves as you're breathing without straining or trying to change your breath. Meet your breath where it is. You might close your eyes. You might keep your eyes open and let your eyes just relax and soften in whatever way feels right to you. How is your breath? As you're breathing in and breathing out, you might feel the cool air coming in, the warmer air leaving the body. What else can you notice about your breath? No judgment, just accepting. And feeling the support underneath you, behind you. What are you laying on? What are you sitting on, resting into? And is there a way that you could allow yourself to relax even more? Breathing in and breathing out. We'll take another several breaths together, just grounding, arriving into this moment inside of our skin, feeling the breath. Feel your breath in and your breath out. And as you feel ready, I invite you to just open your eyes. You're welcome to just stay laying down and listen to our words. Or you might feel ready to come back to a seated position and see your screen. And it's an invitation. Feel what feels right to you and a pace that feels right. It might feel like you're taking forever. I invite you to take forever. Stay behind my words as you begin to come back, if you choose to come back to see your screen.
Love it. So now that you've experienced some grounding, we're going to move into our second practice, which is a supported back bend. Now, if you do have the luxury of pillows or bolsters with blocks, you could always set yourself up on the floor on your back, and maybe you have a pillow to kind of create an opening of your heart. Or you can always put like a block with a bolster like this and have like a thing that you can lean back on. Now, all of us don't have access to that, but what you might have is access to a chair that leans back or a couch that leans back that allows you to have that opening, right? That back bend, you can think about that as a heart opener, right? If you just open your heart, what's happening to your back, it's bending, right? So what we want here is for you to find some position, whether it's on a chair, leaning up against something comfortable on your couch, to just find a way where your back is supported. Maybe there's a pillow behind you or a bolster, and to experience that slight opening in your heart. You can see Michelle has a pretty flexible back bend, so she's able to reach her head back, but that might not be accessible to you. So maybe it's just leaning against what's here and just feeling that sense of opening on the front side of your body, feeling supported by whatever is behind you. You can allow your eyes to soften or to close and connect to your breath here. Observing just the rise and the fall of your breath. And maybe just allowing the mind to have a moment of rest too. Giving yourself this permission to be fully nourished, held, and cared for. Feeling the support behind you as though it's a friend holding you up. Knowing that you're okay exactly as you are right now. Wherever you are is perfectly okay and accepted. Take a few more healing breaths here, taking your time. Noticing any sensations that are arising. And whenever you feel ready, just like you did before, just taking your sweet, precious time to come back into a more neutral, comfortable position. Maybe you're seated, lying down. Just taking a moment to notice how you feel after that big heart opener, that back bend. You can open your eyes if they're closed. And if you'd like to share how you feel in the chat, totally welcome. We'd love to see what that was like for you. Just what's showing up in your experience. And the beauty of these restorative back bends, or supported back bends, is that, ooh, thanks, calm and open, beautiful, is that you can access this in any moment, right? Maybe you're teaching in the classroom and feels stressful. And so everyone's got their chair, right? Let's just take a moment and just lean back and breathe and restore. And then we can get back to it, right? Or you can do it in transition or as a brain break, or maybe after a stressful moment. So I love it. Reminds me how much I slouch. Yes, this is like for us who are like, it's the best opener. So good. So now, Michelle, you want to talk about supported inversions?
Absolutely. And I also just want to mention something that came up in the chat. Someone can't stop yawning. Yes, yes to yawning, yes to drooling. If you find that in one of these holds, you actually fall asleep, that's great. That's not the
Perfect.
intention of the practice. And it is an indication that you're tired, that you need this, you need rest. We all do. And then the opposite, the other extreme, is someone who cannot relax and who eyes might be moving, darting around, or you're constantly thinking, fidgeting. Part of the practice of supporting the body is to remove those fidgets. So if you are fidgeting because something doesn't feel good to you, or you're not fully supported, make those changes instead of like quietly suffering, right? Like I do that. So I'm calling myself out on that. So no quiet suffering. We get to create our own change. It's kind of amazing and empowering. You can support yourself. All right. So we are moving into supported inversions. So what an inversion is any time that your head is below your heart or your head is below your hips. So what you could do is go to a wall and put your legs up the wall. You could lay on the floor in front of your chair and put your legs supporting them on the chair. So your knees can be bent with your calf muscles supported on chair. Maybe that's too high. Maybe a couch is better, or maybe a blanket on top of a coffee table or an ottoman. Raising your legs higher than your head so that you invert the flow of energy, the blood flow. It shifts our perspective. We spend all day long with our head up high and our blood and our energetic system, everything moving downward. And now you're inverting that. So it's moving towards the crown of your head rather than away from your crown. So settling in now, finding a comfortable position that is inverted as you can. Simply putting your legs up on a pillow is enough. And just allow yourself to feel. Feel the support of your legs. Feel your legs. They might feel heavy. They might feel tingly. They might even fall asleep. You can always adjust as needed. Allow yourself to be held. to be supported. And let's return to the breath. Take a deep breath in, feel this inhalation. And as you exhale, I invite you to count to yourself. It's a slow 1 and 2 and 3, or you can count in any way that feels right to you. And then inhale again. And feel if you can increase the length of your exhale. So maybe the first time you counted to 4, maybe this time you count to 5. It's not about getting caught up in the numbers. It's really more about bringing the mind to focus on one thing, and that is lengthening your breath. Just allowing your body to relax a bit deeper with every exhalation. Every moment on your exhalation, letting go, giving in, surrendering. And you might begin to notice how you feel. And you're invited to stay just as you are. Or you might begin to wiggle your toes, your fingers, and come on back into your body, knowing that this is posture that you can rest in at any time. Inversions are wonderful for re-energizing us in the shift of the blood flow and the energy flow. We get more juiced up. Can be really effective after a long flight or a lot of time in a car, or a lot of time standing, to raise your legs up in this way. It's just feeling that, feel that rejuvenating quality of an inversion that is fully supported. Yeah. So as you feel ready, if you're called to share maybe a few words or an emoji of how you're feeling right now, I'd love to know. Never rushing, moving slowly, staying with you.
So beautiful. Let's take a deep breath in together. Deep breath out. Again, inhale. Exhale. Breathe in. Out with a huge sigh. Beautiful. And so now that we've put our heart above our head. Another practice that we will be exploring together is a supported twist. Now, there's a few ways that you can do this. You can get on your back if you would like, lie down on your back and then bring your knees to one side and gaze over the other side. And that you can do a twist like that. You can also get on your chair and just gently, mindfully twist to one direction. Maybe you start twisting to the right, for example, and you can just rest your front hand either on your legs or on the side of the chair or a couch or wherever you're seated. And then you can rest your back against the back of the chair or the couch, and then bring your arm to rest on what's behind you. So you're just doing a really gentle twist here. And then just softening into the space. And so again, this is a supported twist. We're not cranking or, wringing ourselves out. We're just gently, mindfully twisting. Patrick, I see you. It's so beautiful. The power of this practice is immense if we allow ourselves to just take this space to rest. And just noticing where are those areas of tension that you may be feeling, if you are, and just can you create a little more space? And maybe it's in your jaw. Can you relax your jaw a little bit more? Maybe you're carrying some tension in your shoulders, like let them go. Maybe there's somewhere else that you're holding. Can you just surrender and release? And so you can stay here for as long as feels good for you. Whenever you're ready, just take a moment and come back to neutral. And just stay here. Take a breath. Just notice how you feel. You may feel some imbalances because we've only done one side. Just get curious. And then whenever you're ready, you can make that twist on the other side. So just gently, mindfully. Yeah, and if you need to do some shoulder rolls or neck rolls before you move on over, absolutely. The beauty of this practice is that it's your choice. You get to explore what feels good to me and do that thing. And maybe you're like, I don't want to twist right now. I just want to lay horizontal. That's beautiful too. And so again, this is an invitation for you to be held. So find some support here in your twist. There's no destination. And then again, just taking your time, staying here as long as feels good for you. Coming back through center. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Maybe you bring your hands over your heart and just take a moment to check in with yourself. Notice what's here, how you feeling. And then whenever you feel ready, if your eyes are closed, you can gently open them, come back into the space. If you'd like to share about how you're feeling with all of us, please do. We love to hear about your experience. And then the beauty of this one is, again, a twist. Like, you could do it in any moment. You can integrate it into your teaching. You could take a break and just say, hey, let's do some twists. You can wake up during breakfast and be like, hold on, before I eat my oatmeal, let me just do a twist in my chair, right? There's so many different ways that you can draw on this restorative practice. And the key to it being restorative is that you feel supported in your twists, right? You're not cranking or using that energy. We're like having the benefits of the twist, but in a restorative way. Releasing the tension, feeling softened, realizing how tight you are. Totally. Me too. That's when I'm like, oh, whoo, okay, I see what's going on now. Bringing awareness is the first step to healing. So that's so awesome. So now we'll move into our supported forward folds, which I love. So Michelle, I'll pass it to you to guide us through the practice. You're on mute.
So a forward fold is exactly what the name implies. We're folding forward, and this can be challenging on the lower back, and we are going to hold for time. So I highly recommend backing off in the beginning. So do less. You think, oh, I can fold this far, and then how will it feel 5 minutes from now holding? It can be very, very challenging, even for the most flexible body. So something that we all have in our classrooms is a desk, right? So you can fold forward onto a table or a desk right in front of you, just placing your forearms there and then resting your head on your own arms. That could be your supported forward fold. You could sit on the floor, turn around and put your arms up on your chair. If you're sitting on the floor for this, you can raise your hips up by sitting on a pillow. That might create some comfort for you. You could also do that forward fold onto your couch, your coffee table. Wherever you're placing your body, make sure that there's softness under it. The body gives into soft when we have our body against something hard. There's a resistance there instinctively that happens inside. So supporting yourself and being gentle about it. And now begin to breathe into your back as if you actually could direct your breath into a specific place. The breath will move physiologically into your lungs, which go and move the back body as your lungs expand. As the diaphragm moves, it rubs and moves along the spine. You might feel that. And you can also feel the energetic quality of your breath, that your breath follows your intention. You might breathe into the back of your heart. Breathing into that space that is protected by your shoulder blades, and you soften those shoulder blades and allow your back to receive the breath. Letting any amount of softening or melting just letting it happen as organically as you're able to right now in this moment. Let's take just a few more breaths here. And as you feel ready, use your hands if you can to bring yourself back up nice and easy. And feel how that was in your body. And when you're ready, you can maybe put 1 or 2 words into the chat if you want to orient towards putting words together now. And I tell you, about 15 years ago, when I first started practicing restorative yoga, I did a restorative class that included a long forward fold like this. And I left that class in pain because those larger muscles of our shoulder blades that I had that are so tense and held, and shoulders up by my ears, finally had an opportunity to relax. And the muscles underneath, they had been held, but I didn't know it. So when the outer layer relaxed, I could feel what was underneath. So that was a key to me to continuing this practice. So just if you start to feel any kind of thing that feels funky, it might be a result of relaxing other muscles that are surrounding, that are holding you up, if you will. And now you're getting to feel the subtext of your narrative.
Totally. So, oh, so glad that your body feels great. So now it's time to move into our final restoration. So for you, this might look like Shavasana, your like final resting pose where you just lay horizontal on your back, legs out long, arms out long, palms facing up, and just surrender into the earth. That might be your final restoration. If you're in a chair, on a couch, or seated, you can just find the most absolutely comfortable position in the world, wherever. That's what final restoration is all about, just finding comfort so that you can relax, you can restore, and you can allow everything that we've done up to this point to integrate into your entire being so you can really experience the benefits of this practice, of this beautiful experience that you just gave to yourself. And so you can grab blankets, you can warm, I like to add another layer sometimes here to get all cozy. You can get some pillows, you just get whatever you need. Maybe you need nothing other than what you've got right here, right now. So just take the next couple of moments in quiet to connect to yourself, to let everything just kind of, let it go. We'll stay here for a few moments of quiet, and then I'll gently take you all out to complete this experience together. Gently bring some movement into your fingers and your toes. Just take this moment to acknowledge yourself for showing up for you today. Maybe you reach your arms above head for a full body stretch. Yeah. Ooh. And then if you're laying down, you can roll on over to one side and eventually make your way up to a comfortable seat. And if you're seated, you're right where you need to be. Maybe you're laying down, you want to stay there for the next 30 minutes. By all means, that would make us so happy. And so just taking this precious time to connect inward, bring your hands over your heart. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Inhale. Exhale. Breathe in. Out with a huge sigh. Give your heart a little rub and some love. Acknowledge yourself. You rock. You did it. You came here. And I just want to really, really quickly review the practices that we taught you so that you can walk away with a toolkit with actual practices that you can integrate into your daily life as well as your teaching. So we started with a grounding practice, which aimed to support you in literally doing just that, in experiencing a sense of grounding, of centeredness, in whatever position felt good for you. Then we did those supported back bends. So maybe some of you are in chairs, others of you are lying on your back. Again, we're opening the heart. Then we did the supported inversions where you can lie down, put your legs up on a chair or on the wall. Again, your heart is over your head there. And then supported twists, right? Doing twists to the right and to the left in a way that feels supportive for your body. And then folding forward, and literally can go over the desk if you'd like, or wherever you are, over a bolster, over a pillow. And then we ended in deep relaxation. So please draw on these practices as much as you possibly can. We are so, so, so grateful that you took the time and space to be with us today. And as we mentioned, so much of what we did with you all today is exactly what we do in our 200-hour training. Gave you a little bit of a taste. And I know some of you who are in our 200-hour know that. And if you are new to us, Michelle and I can stay for just a few more moments to share about what our 200-hour is all about. So with that, thank you all so, so, so much for being here. We appreciate you. You are amazing. And we are so excited to share this experience with you. So for those of you who want to stay with us for just a couple of minutes to learn more about our 200-hour and how you can become involved with our community, we'll just take a little bit of time to explain what we do. So, oops, excuse me, there we go. All right. So we'll just very briefly share the outcomes of our training, talk about our curriculum and the certifications and credits that you get. We'll share about our structure, and then we'll talk about the upcoming trainings. And Michelle and I co-lead all the trainings. We love it with our team, and we're super excited to share in this experience with all of you. So our mission is to change the world one teacher at a time. And we believe that through our training, we truly are able to transform educators' lives and to give you the tools to do the same to all the people that you're teaching and interacting with. So in terms of training outcomes, the number one outcome is for you to enhance your own physical, mental, and social emotional well-being through cultivating a personal and sustainable yoga and meditation practice. And that's because you matter and your well-being matters. Michelle, you want to talk about the second one?
Of course. The second one is that you will be able to teach inclusive and accessible yoga classes and meditation practices for both adults and young people in person and digitally.
And then you'll also be able to effectively facilitate social emotional learning and wellness experiences for adults and young people in your school, district, and organization. So you really become a leader of this work. And then last but not least, Michelle.
You get to join a community of passionate educators and leaders who are committed to using wellness as a vehicle for healing and social change.
Amazing. So what are we learning? So we have 6 content areas. We have our Breathe for Change workshops, which are grounded in our transformational curricular progression, which I'll share about in a moment. We have SEL, which, as you can see, we tag on the F to SEL because we believe it's so important for us as educators and leaders to embody the practices that we teach. So you get access to our social emotional learning curriculum, which includes like settle in practices, breath awareness, mindful movement, creative expression, community connection, focus, relaxation, and closing practices. And then you also learn how to design and facilitate wellness workshops and PD. And then asana, that's the physical practice of yoga. So you learn, and even if you're brand new, it's perfect. You'll deepen your understanding of the practice. You'll learn how to break down the poses, how to sequence them together, and ultimately how to design and teach trauma-informed and accessible yoga classes to adults and young people. Meditation, if you have a meditation practice, you'll deepen it. If you don't, you'll start one, and you'll also learn to guide others through meditation. And then philosophy, this is where we explore the history of yoga, the ethical principles of yoga, and how these ethical principles actually apply to our lives as educators and leaders. And then anatomy, as you can imagine, we're learning all about our physical bodies and how our bodies connect to the practice of yoga. So, as I mentioned, our training is grounded in our transformational curricular progression. So we begin with a focus on what we call transformation of self, which is all about us prioritizing and enhancing our own well-being. And then from that foundation, we move into transformation of relationships, where we explore how to show up fully and enhance well-being in all of our relationships. Then we move into transformation of community, which is why so many educators come to Breathe for Change in the first place. This is where we explore how do we utilize wellness and social emotional learning and yoga as vehicles for healing and social change across all of our communities. And then we end with integration and renewal, where we celebrate the transformations that have unfolded and really prepare to step into our communities as leaders of this work. And so, as I mentioned, everything is designed to support you in using wellness as a vehicle for healing and social change. And so through our training, you get 2 certifications. You get your 200-hour yoga teacher certification, which is the international gold standard yoga teacher certification that actually qualifies you to register through the Yoga Alliance, which is the certifying body around the world that certifies yoga teachers and yoga schools. And so you also get your social emotional learning facilitator certification. This is what makes us different than any other yoga teacher training in the world. So this qualifies you to lead SEL and wellness and mindfulness practices, workshops, programs, PD, all the things in your school, district, or organization. And then you also can get graduate level professional development credits through our partner universities if you'd like. And so our training is a combination of the most interactive and engaging and inspiring live sessions on Zoom, where you'll build incredibly close relationships that last a lifetime, and also just deepen your connection to all the things that we're learning, as well as on-demand content, which you complete self-paced between our live sessions. And then as part of our training, you get access to our membership. So you can come join us in daily wellness and yoga classes and SEL PDs, and you'll get access to our platform and our amazing community of educators. And so we have 4 different options for upcoming cohorts. The one that is just around the corner is our January training, which is our school year model. That's a month. The live sessions take place on a weekend, Saturday and Sunday, once a month, starting in January and ending in July. And then if you can't do January, you can sign up for April, which again, monthly weekend trainings on Zoom. And then if you're someone who has the summers off, like many educators do, and can't take your weekends during the school year, then the summer trainings might be the perfect option. This is like your summer immersion. So instead of live sessions on Zoom every month, it's every week. Instead of 6 months, it's condensed into 6 weeks, same content, same experience, just over a smaller window of time because it meets educators' needs. So there's a Monday, Tuesday cohort and a Wednesday, Thursday cohort during the summer. And so our intention is to make our training as accessible and affordable to educators everywhere. And so typically yoga teacher trainings are like $4,000 or $5,000, and we've done everything we can to reduce the tuition.